excited for our audiences to see our perspective on Carmen. We're really hoping to draw some parallels between when it was written, how women have been treated in the past, and how they're still being treated today, and hopefully how we can regain our power and find the truth and the brutality that often happens to women, and how do we see it, how do we perceive it, when do we notice it, when do we not notice it, when do we accept it, and when we don't. So it's a pretty exciting concept, and I'm hoping that through the eyes of the direction of a woman, having a lead female character and so many other fun female characters in it, we can kind of explore that.
So it's been a joy to sing Micaela with Opera Ithaca, because in the experience of approaching the opera Carmen from a feminist perspective, it's been nice to see Micaela as more of a woman with autonomy. In other productions, sometimes you see her played as a victim, and in this time, in 2018, in the Me Too movement, and in the time where women are being given a voice, it's nice to know that we can see Micaela through that lens, and I'm happy to be playing her that way.
It's interesting to see Zuniga as that guy who is pushing the boundaries inappropriately, because there was a time when like how he treats women in this was okay, and now I feel like the women in the audiences here in Ithaca this weekend are going to see it and maybe see themselves in their own situations that they've had dealing with people who have pushed too far or felt too powerful and overstepped their boundaries. So I think it's cool, and it's cool to have the voice be heard and have this all expressed this way. It's not always great to play that character, but I get, why it's important, and I think it's cool that we're doing it that way.
One.
I think what's different for me about this production is social awareness. I think in the midst of everything that's going on, society has been plagued with violence against women for ages, and it's just now being, people are being made aware because people are being brave and just standing up for themselves and standing up for against violence. And so to be able to play a character that is seemingly a calm, collected person, but is really volatile and who reacts in such a violent way when he doesn't get his way. It's very interesting to play that character, but it also kind of gives you a kind of an inside door into the psyche of somebody who of so many men who've been doing that for ages, and just how wrong and inappropriate it is.
I think if we're talking about like what's special about Carmen, people have always thought about it, and why does it linger on? Why is it so popular, so famous, and being performed all over the place? I think it's because it's rooted in a drama that's like deeply passionate and incredibly intimate, but it's always on a grand scale, which is
Right.
interesting. Yeah. And so I think that it's cool to have that same story that is deeply passionate and incredibly intimate and human, like very human story, and then to put it on a small scale in a space like the Hangar,
Right.
and for audiences to come and see it like that. Like, what do you guys think about that? Like,
Well,
doing
I
the
just feel
show
like Carmen
that?
is a constant series of intense emotions at their height.
Yeah.
So when I'm like in rehearsal, even with you guys, and we were doing scenes, I'm watching and I'm just getting chills constantly. So to put that kind of emotion, that's French grand opera in a smaller house,
This
is
close,
gonna
yeah.
be incredible. Just a great experience.
Yeah, I think it's literally going to draw everybody in to where it's almost going to feel like everyone is part of the show, like everybody's part of that opera. You're there watching it live, and I think people are going to walk away with changed. They're going to be feeling something that they probably haven't felt before, or if they have, it's going to be on a much deeper level. Because it's such an intimate setting, which I really love about it.
Yeah.
You can find your favorite characters throughout the show, and you can change those characters as the show progresses, and surprises happen.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, I mean, it's an evolution for the audience as well, seeing the show and the progression of the story, especially through the lens of the more feminist perspective and more the women in the audience and the men in the audience being able to identify with how that relates to today.
It's cool that when people are talking about like how do you take opera to the next level? How do you make it relevant? How do you keep it? Like what's new for opera? Like what keeps it going?
Yeah.
And what a lot of companies are doing, and that I've seen, and what Opera Ithaca is definitely doing, is they're finding a way to make it more relatable to the people in the seats now, and and a lot of the ways that they do that is by bringing it closer, bringing it, smaller, like taking out the majesty and the grandness and making it something much more relatable in its and accessible in its size and in its scope. And I just think that's really cool.
Yeah.
Really cool.
Yeah, so it's gonna be great. It's gonna be a great production.
New now next.
Yeah.
Carmen for you?
The biggest difference is that it's in my hometown, and so my students are going to see it, and the people I know, and the people I go to church with, and the people that are my neighbors, and my family. So it's exciting and fun, but also a little nerve-wracking. I think it's a really good cast. So everyone's really strong. All the singers are really good, and I think the production is going to be really wonderful.